Hi everyone, today we're going to review how to collect like terms. Collecting like terms is like trying to find an inventory of each type of term. In this case, we're going to have to put the 7x's together with the 2x's because those are like terms. We will also have to put the 8, or the positive 8, and the positive 2 together because they are also like terms. We will rewrite these terms so that they're in order and with their like pairings. As you can see, we now have the 7x and the 2x beside each other, and we have the positive 8 and the positive 2 beside each other. From here, we can look to collect the like terms by adding them or subtracting them as indicated by the signs. So in the first case, we have 7x plus 2x. Well, that's going to give us a total of 9x. If you have trouble remembering how to figure that out in your head, don't forget that you can always use the scoreboard, where in terms of the x's, we have 7 of them, and in terms of the 2x, we have additional positives totaling 9x altogether. In terms of the 8 and the 2, when we add those together, we're going to get 10. Once again, that can be shown in a scoreboard to show that you have 8 to begin with, and then you are adding 2 more to it for the second term. So if we look at our final answer, we can see that the 7x plus the 2x has become 9x, and the positive 8 and the positive 2 have become 10. And here are our scoreboards that correspond to those terms. So we would leave the answer as 9x plus 10 because, of course, we cannot combine an x term with a number term. Here's a second example with more terms and with some double signs, which might at first make it seem like it's going to be more complicated, when in fact you'll just use the rules that we've been using all the way along to simplify the double signs. So a positive and a negative sign are going to simplify to be a negative sign, and we can rewrite all of these terms to look like this. All I'm going to do is just record the negative sign in front of the 3x instead of those double signs that were existing before. From here, I will look to collect the like terms. So I'll have to decide, first of all, what are terms that are like each other. So the negative 2x is like the negative 3x. They're like terms because they both have x's in them. That leaves the remaining terms, the positive 4, the negative 6, and the positive 5, to also be like terms. So we'll rearrange so that the like terms are beside each other, writing the negative 2x and the negative 3x next to each other. And all these remaining integers will also need to be written beside each other. What that's done for us is it's made us so that our x terms are beside each other and our number terms are beside each other. This will make it easier for us to collect the like terms as our final step. Let's draw scoreboards to help us. We will have a positive team and a negative team, and this will be for the terms that we are using red to represent here. So inside of this scoreboard, we will have 2 negative x's, and then we will have 3 negative x's. So we can see that in this case, the negative team is going to win by 5 x's. We can draw a second scoreboard for our integer terms. We have 4 in the positive side, and then we have 6 on the negative side. And then this 5 here means that we have an additional 5 on our positive side. We know that because it's on the positive team here. So then we can look to create some 0 pairs, and that's going to leave us with just positive 3 in the end. And that was our scoreboard for our integer terms. So what we can see is we have positive 3 for our integer term, part of our answer, and we have negative 5x for our variable part of our answer. And that expression is how we would leave our answer, negative 5x plus 3. Again, we cannot combine those terms because they're not like one another. You might also come across examples where there's more than just 2 types of like terms. In this case, there's going to be 3. So we'll begin by looking for the terms that we want to combine together. Looking for, remember, the term that has the biggest exponent on the variable will go first. So we will put these guys to begin. And then we will find that we have a 5x and a 1x that will need to be combined. And then we'll need another color to show that we're going to need to put the number or the integer terms together as well. So we will rearrange the terms so that our like terms are beside each other. Keeping in mind once again that we put the variables with the biggest exponents at the beginning of our expression. So there we have rearranged our terms with the x squareds in it. Next, we'll rearrange the terms that just have an x in it, so positive 5x and the positive. Remember that there's an imaginary 1 out in front when we have just a variable term, so we can add that in if it helps us to visualize. And what that does for us is it helps us to collect our x terms beside each other. And then finally, we are going to need to collect our terms that have just plain integers in it. So we have a positive 2. There was no positive sign out in front of this term, but we know that it's automatically a positive sign when 1 isn't given at the beginning of an expression. And then that leaves us with our positive 3 next to it. And in this case, now we have 3 different terms that we are going to need to summarize. So this example is going to need 3 different scoreboards. We're going to need a scoreboard for our red set of terms, a scoreboard for our blue set of terms, and a scoreboard for our green set of terms. This is going to mean that in our red scoreboard, we are going to have 4 x squared tiles, and we're going to have 3 negative x squared tiles. That's going to leave us with the positive team winning by 1x squared. And once again, that is for our red portion of our expression. The blue portion of our expression is going to be combining a positive 5x with a positive 1x. So positive 5x's would look like this, and then an additional positive 1x is going to look like this. Altogether, we're going to have positive 6x's. Again, the positive team wins because the negative team didn't even show up. Our final scoreboard is going to include the information that's colored with green. So in this case, we have 2 positives and then we have 3 positives. So the positive team is going to win. They're going to get all 5 of those points. And what that's going to leave us with is an overall expression of 1x squared plus 6x plus 5. And again, we cannot combine these terms any further because they're all different types of terms. Some of them are x squared, some of them are x, and some of them are just numbers. So that would be our final answer. You also might find that you get an expression that doesn't have x's in it at all. Perhaps they'll introduce another variable or even multiple kinds of variables. So in this case, we have h's and we have g's. When I get a question like this, I like to give each of the variables a different name that it begins with so that it kind of helps me to be able to collect them and have it make a little bit more sense to me. So for this case, I might think about these as being hamsters, and the other ones are going to be guinea pigs. So I'm going to need to look for, well, what are all the hamsters that can get added together or combined together, and what are all the guinea pigs that need to get combined together? As with before, we'll rewrite the expression so that all the hamsters are together and so that all the guinea pigs are together. And again, you don't have to think about it as hamsters or guinea pigs. You can think about it however you like. I just find sometimes by giving the variables names that it helps it to make a little bit more sense as I go through the question. Now that I've got all of my hamsters beside each other and all of my guinea pigs beside each other, I can decide how many scoreboards I'm going to need. Since I only have 2 different colors of variables here, or I only have hamsters and guinea pigs, I'll actually only need to have 2 different scoreboards. One for the hamsters and one for the guinea pigs. As I go to combine those terms, I'm going to look at positives and negatives in each case. So I'll begin with 8 hamsters that are positive. Again, there's an imaginary plus out in front. So I have 8 hamsters. And then I have a -1 hamster, so that guy will go here. And then again, 5 more hamsters is going to look like this. So we're only going to create 1 0 pair here, which is going to leave us with a total of 12 hamsters. And that will be summarized as 12H. In our guinea pigs column, we are going to again have a positive and a negative team. The positive team begins with 4 guinea pigs and then has 3 more guinea pigs, but then there are 2 negative guinea pigs. That's going to cancel out those as 0 pairs and leave us with positive 5 guinea pigs. And again, we'll color code that term to show that we have 2 different types of tile in our final expression. We have 12H plus 5G, and that's how we would leave our answer. That's it for collecting like terms. As a review, I hope this is helpful. Reach out if you have any questions or concerns.